So this morning I was, well, you know, space is at a premium at Sravasti Abbey these days. I think people out there might know this too. So there was a private meeting going on in the office that I usually work in. So in order to effectively use my time, I picked up a magazine from, you know, our Dharma magazine, not just any magazine. And it was a most effective use of time to pick up that magazine and read that article. So I'm grateful for having had the chance to do that, and I wanted to share it with the group because I thought this is a great teaching. So it's an article by Jetsunma Tenzin Palmo, who, like our own teacher, Venerable Thubten Chodron, is in a very unique, sometimes I think maybe difficult, but a very preciously unique space of having spent so many years studying the Dharma in a traditional culture and then translating it into our Western culture. You know, they've run it through the process, the sieve of their own Western trained minds and really taking it to heart, and in that way they're able to address their Western students. And I think not just Western, I think they're modern, contemporary students too. I don't think it's necessarily just an East-West thing. But anyway, her advice is lighten up. That's the name of her article. It's a great quote. Referring to her Western student practice, she says, "Sometimes there is a humorless quality to the intensity and the focus on achievement." Sound familiar? Solemnity and earnestness often prevail in Western Dharma circles. Well, I am pretty solemn and earnest sometimes, and sometimes I even see earnestness as a kind of one of my good qualities. But this lighten up thing is really really something to think about. I mean, we think about our Tibetan teachers. Look at His Holiness the Dalai Lama. You know, he cracks up all the time. There he is sitting there with his little visor on to shield off all the lights. He doesn't care that it's whatever is on the visor, it seems. And in the middle of a chanting or in the middle of the Heart Sutra or something, he'll get tongue-tied and just crack right up without any embarrassment. There's no shame. He doesn't hide his head and go, "Oh, I'm so terrible." He just laughs. So, and we see this in our Western students too. I mean, Venerable Chodron is our Western teachers. Thank you, laughing all the time. So this is a great teaching and example for us. And I think that laughter, if we can learn to laugh at ourselves, it's part of what challenges our self-centered thought. It's really a critical piece, this lightening up. And Venerable Chodron says this all the time, actually. She says if we can learn to laugh at ourselves, then we'll have a better time in our practice, but also we'll be able to challenge the self-centered thought much more. So recently, when she was teaching on the Bodhisattva precepts, she challenged us to look. She said, at the end of every day, you should be able to examine your day and say, at least once today, I challenged the self-centered thought by doing something I didn't want to do. And I think it would be a nice additional practice if we could begin to look throughout our day and say, at least once today, I challenged my self-centered thought by laughing at my own crazy mind. I'm really laughing at it rather than like, I don't know, nurturing that part that holds our earnestness and our achievement so precious. Again, Jetsunma, another great quote. She says, "Our Dharma practice is supposed to make lives happier and less encumbered. So when our practice becomes yet another rock in the rucksack of life, making everything seem heavier and more stressful, something isn't working properly." So has anybody had the feeling of having your practice being a rock in the rucksack of life? What a great image. She has another beautiful image. She said, instead, our Dharma should be like yeast in the heavy dough of our everyday existence, making our days lighter and more digestible. Lovely, 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 lovely image. So there is a Lojong slogan, one of our thought training slogans that says, always have only a joyful mind. And when Venerable Pema Chodron teaches about this, she says, and then Westerners spend the next month beating themselves up because they're not happy enough when they study this slogan. But this is how we are. So, but it's not about this big deal joy, about having some kind of exuberant feeling of joy all the time. I think it's just lighten up. Lighten up. So Jatsuma closes this last paragraph. She says, sometimes I think the seventh paramita should be a sense of humor. So we cultivate generosity, ethical conduct, forbearance, joyous effort, concentration, wisdom, and a sense of humor. But it's the wrong order. We actually have to have that sense of humor if we're going to be, in any kind of way, I think, effectively take on our self-centered thought. So, very simple slogan. It's not in any Dharma traditional text I ever have read, but lighten up. Good thing to put on our puja tables and on our desks. And she says, you know, we're going to probably not get enlightened in this life. Therefore, we have lots of time. May as well smell the flowers as we walk along the way. You know.